Good morning. Welcome to Plugged In. We will be in Genesis 45 right after this. Hey, we are glad that you are with us. I don't know if you can tell over this screen here, but yes, I'm speaking out of a barrel a little bit. I'm sure a few of you are. Sinus issues. Man, I tell you, I love this weather, but man, it really can do some things to your health issues at times. So we're making it through. Bear with me. It's a beautiful Monday. It's sunny. It's spring break. A couple of shout outs. Congratulations to both the high school girls and high school boys basketball teams. They are headed this weekend for state championships. So congratulations to the teams and the coaches. I had a courtside view through the season, running the scoreboard, watching those two teams, and they are a blast to watch. It is just fun to watch both of those teams, and they're well coached, and there's some fine young men and women that represent our community there. So I just want to say a shout out there. Also, if you're a baseball fan, our baseball team, the Wildcats, will have their jamboree this week, or today at 1:30, and then I believe I've been told that they are moving their opening game to this Friday to accommodate so that they can take off to go watch the state championship basketball to help support that. So a lot of things happening in the sports world for Logan Rogersville, but maybe that's not what everybody likes, and so whatever you're doing this week, have a wonderful time. So we have this English word that we call opportunity. It actually comes from a Latin word, which means toward the port. It suggests a ship taking advantage of the wind and tide to arrive safely in the harbor. The brevity of life is a strong argument for making the best use of the opportunities God gives to us. I first believe we must recognize those opportunities. Yesterday morning, during a small group study of the book of Ecclesiastes, I asked the class this question. If you were given the assignment to describe life in one word, what would that one word be? There was a few seconds of silence, and then someone said, adventurous. Another person said, challenging. One person said, persevering. If you've ever read the book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon's word is meaningless. But there was one lady in the group that said that her word would be choice. And her main thought was that life happens, but we have a choice on how we respond or react or deal with it. Now, those two words, opportunity and choice, I believe are embedded in the first part of Genesis 45. So if you want to follow along this morning, I'm going to read as I have been doing. I've enjoyed just reading the text instead of just kind of skimming over. But I'm going to read 11 verses, and let's just see if you find those words sort of embedded in the thought here, beginning chapter 45 of Genesis. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all of his attendants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. And he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard him, and Pharaoh's household heard about it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. Boy, can't you see that picture? Verse 4, Joseph said to his brothers, "Come close to me." When they had done so, he said, "I am your brother Joseph, the one you sold into Egypt. And now, do not be distressed, and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. For 2 years now there has been famine in the land, and for the next 5 years there will be no plowing and no reaping. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth, so to save your lives by a great deliverance. So then, it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household and ruler of all Egypt. Now hurry back to my father and tell him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord over all of Egypt. Come down to me, don't delay. You shall live in the region of Goshen. Be near me, you, your children, your grandchildren, your flocks and herds, and all you have. I will provide for you there, because 5 years of famine are still to come. Otherwise, you and your household and all who belong to you will become destitute. You know, although Joseph's brothers deserved for Joseph to retaliate or seek revenge on what they had done towards him, and although Joseph's brothers had wanted to get rid of him, God used even their evil actions to fulfill his ultimate plan. It was through their evil actions that God sent Joseph ahead to preserve their lives, to save Egypt, and to prepare the way for the beginning of the nation of Israel. Joseph had a choice. When he first saw his brothers, he could have taken some extreme actions toward them. He could have sent them back and left them without any grain. Joseph was also given an opportunity. One of the opportunities that I see here is that he was given the opportunity to forgive them, to see and understand after 20 years of maturing that it wasn't them that was the problem. It was God who was the solution. God knew 20 years earlier what was going to happen, and he needed somebody there. The route he chose was not probably Joseph's best idea, but in the end, Joseph realized this was all part of God's plan, and he remained faithful to God, and in turn, it served as a testimony of faith and forgiveness towards his brothers. I've appreciated you visiting and meeting with us each week and following along in this story of Joseph. We've taken a few weeks in it. We're still in Hebrews 11 on this heroes of faith. And so next week we will begin another character, and we won't take as long, but we're going to hit the highlights of a man named Moses. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Monday on Plugged In.